Qatari mountaineer Fahad Badar has reached heights many believed were impossible. He's the first Arab to summit both Mount Everest and Lhotse, the first and fourth highest peaks in the world, in a single attempt. And just 10 months after losing 4 of his fingers and almost his life, Fahad defied the odds by climbing to the top of K2.
They said I will never climb again. And I will never be able to climb any mountain. I challenged them and I said I'll climb K2. And here I am, on top of K2.
A shining example of the power of resilience, Fahad's achievements serve as a beacon of hope to anyone battling mental or physical obstacles. Fahad, I've brought you here to a traditional majlis, the origins of which run deep in Qatari culture. It's a place for people to come together, to chat, perhaps share a meal. Can you describe to me how your culture, your heritage, fuels your passion?
I have been passionate about mountains for a very long time, and living in Qatar, which is a flat country with deserts, gave me interest of how can I do something more? How can I be going higher? And I think a trip to Nepal in 2003 was the first time I got introduced to mountaineering. You hear about climbing legends, you hear about climbing trips. I remember doing an Annapurna circuit and hiking there in the mountains and looking at the high mountains, and at that time I did not know what shoes to wear, what clothes to wear, and at first I was suffering, but then I started enjoying that suffering, enjoying the altitude, enjoying the weather, enjoying the basic life that I lived there, living in a city all of my life since my childhood.
You don't consider yourself a professional mountaineer, and yet you did become the first Arab ever to conquer both Everest and Lhotse in a single attempt. Back in 2021, your life changed when you were descending Broad Peak, a mountain in the Karakoram range. You suffered frostbite and lost 4 of your fingers. Can you take us back to that event?
I consider myself a tourist mountaineer, as I depend on guides, I depend on expedition companies to support me. So 2021, I decided to climb K2, the Savage Mountain, the second highest mountain in the world. And to do that, I wanted to climb Broad Peak first, which is just next to it. I had prepared very well, I had all of my risk calculation, I had everything planned. I reached the summit late, and coming back, I was stuck at a certain area near the summit because of another climber who descended on a rope and she got stuck. I ran out of oxygen. I spent the night at an area near the summit where I was not aware where I was. I was hallucinating. I was alone. I was not sure where to go. I remember hearing my daughter Maryam telling me, "Baba, don't die. Baba, come back." And I think the voice of my daughter in my head and seeing her, visualizing her at that time while I'm hallucinating, kept me awake, kept me saying, I don't want to go in the coma. It was not until the morning where the sun came out and I started finding the way. I saw one of the Pakistani guides and I started walking with him to Camp 3. This is the time where I discovered that I'm alive. I was lost in the mountains alone, and this is where I noticed my hand and the darkness in my hand. And after that, my life changed forever.
An amazing story, inspirational and challenging. And what now? How did you start to adapt to this new way of being?
When I realized that I would be losing my finger, of course, like any normal human being, I got into the 5 stages of denial, 5 stages of disbelief. So I got into depression where I was thinking, how can I continue my life? So I have a decision to make to myself. Either live in denial or live in sadness and think that this will change my life, or just accept it. And this is where I decided this will not stop me. Going back to the mountains, I had to learn how to hold ropes again, how to wear the crampons using 1.5 hand. So the adaptation was in the way that I climb. I had prosthetics, but the problem is prosthetics, you cannot use them in altitude with all the heavy gloves you're wearing and everything. I know that I needed to use my legs, I can use the notches and rocks to climb using my legs more, and using my right hand strength to compensate for my left hand, and even sometimes using my elbows and other areas to climb. But this ability is not a barrier to achievements. And this is what I believed in.
Change of scenery
Yeah.
here at Aspetar Hospital, and you've just come off this amazing machine that tests low oxygen levels and the effects that has on athletes. How important is physical performance when it comes to preparing for climbing a huge mountain?
You need to be as fit as possible. There is lots of suffering and lots of pain. If you find joy in that pain, you will do extremely well. One thing I learned about mountaineering is you need to replicate what you will be facing in the mountain. If you are like hiking to base camp, you need to learn how to hike for long hours before going there. But in the same time, you're in a place where you're not having the proper sleep that you're having usually because of lack of oxygen. You're sleeping on a tent, not in perfect situation. You don't have the same food you have at home. And it's day after day after day. So you need to be very physically fit, and you need to be mentally and emotionally prepared for that. It is the key part, the key differentiator there, because different to like other sports, in mountaineering, you expect the unexpected.
Being with you, it's very obvious that you have this never give up attitude. Is it important to you to continue to promote that when you work with others?
Getting my injury and losing my fingers, I see it from a positive side because it helped me to inspire lots of people not only with physical disabilities, but people also having challenges in their life. How can I inspire them to say that never give up, never say never? I've done lots of public speaking, lots of group sessions, but also lots of one-to-one, giving advice to people and giving them inspiration on how to continue their life.
You've climbed some of the biggest mountains on the planet. What's next then on the horizon?
One thing very important is I want to do more of the other work that I'm doing, promoting awareness about disability. You know, not everyone who's disabled have a physical disability. There is lots of different disabilities that are not visible to the people, and I think it's very important for inclusion, for diversity, that we understand that people with disabilities are all kind and shape, and some of them, and lots of them actually, are hidden disabilities. So I think promoting mental health is very important. It's something that I had challenges with my injury. So I think this is something that I'm dedicating lots of my time in, and also educating youth and youngsters, having role models for them and how to overcome challenges in life as they grow up.
Noble work that I'm sure will make a difference to many millions all around the world. Fahad, thank you so much for joining us on The Dialogue.
Thank you so much. Thank you.